So as we look back on the Super Bowl, one of the things you want to try to do is identify where the 49ers went wrong, where can they make an improvement over last season. And the one thing that really stands out to me is just how things changed after halftime. And in specifics here, talking about how the 49ers dealt with Travis Kelce from the first half to the second half. And as I look forward to this game, Dre Greenlaw is not walking through those doors, so Nick Sorensen will have to come up with a plan to stop Travis Kelce, like the 49ers were able to do in the first half of the Super Bowl, but weren't able to do in the second half. So we're going to talk about that and some other things as it pertains to this Week 7 matchup, the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. But first, I wanted to inform you that this is brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery, a restaurant and beer garden providing fresh beer and delicious bites in a family-friendly atmosphere in Moraga, California. That's right down the street from where I live, and it's definitely one of my go-to spots. And also, I'm very excited about this. The Canyon Club will be opening a spot in Danville in the Danville Livery right off of 680. So I'm excited about that to add that into my craft beer rotation. Okay, so when you look back at the Super Bowl, where did things go wrong for the 49ers? And I think a lot of it stems from the disparity in success that the teams had on third downs. The 49ers were only 3 of 12 on third downs. That's 25%. Kansas City, 9 of 19 on their third down opportunities for 47%. And so what that means is obviously, whereas the 49ers, their drives stalled and they had to settle for 2 field goals in the fourth quarter and another field goal in overtime. Kansas City was able to keep those drives alive and extend drives and ultimately get the touchdown in overtime that enabled them to take that 25-22 victory. The biggest difference when you look at it was just what the 49ers were able to do against Travis Kelce in the first half and what they weren't able to do against him in the second half. Because a lot of those opportunities where they were able to extend drives was a direct result of that Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce combination. And that's something where in the first half with a healthy Dre Greenlaw, Travis Kelce only had 1 catch for 1 yard, and that was with Greenlaw in coverage against him. 1 catch for 1 yard in the first half. And then in the second half and overtime, it was 8 catches for 92 yards. So that's a huge thing as far as where the Kansas City Chiefs were able to really make their way in that game. And when I look at this particular Kansas City Chiefs team, they don't have Rashee Rice. They don't have Isaiah Pacheco. And they really don't have a whole lot of weapons on the outside. I think the 49ers are going to be just fine as far as cornerbacks against wide receivers. I think with Diamador Lenore, Charvarius Ward expected back this week with either some combination of Isaac Yiadom and Renardo Green, the 49ers should be just fine as far as covering those outside receivers, as long as Nick Bosa has the kind of day he had against Seattle, which I'm not sure I expect that to happen with his 14 quarterback pressures, although no sacks. That would be the one area of concern when I think about it, or another area of concern when I think about the 49ers moving forward is just where's their consistent pass rush going to come from? They need more out of Leonard Floyd opposite of Bosa. He's going to continue to face a lot of one-on-one blocking schemes. He needs to shake free and have a big-time game to the point where opposing offenses really have to account for him. And then as far as the inside guys, I just don't see a whole lot of juice there. So there's probably more pressure on the secondary and the coverage to excel than there has been for quite a while. So how do the 49ers go about defending Travis Kelce? I'm kind of the mind that Nick Sorensen has to do what Vic Fangio and some other past 49ers defense coordinators did with Patrick Willis. It was basically identify where is he needed most and then put him in those positions to make plays. And as I look at this, yes, the 49ers are going to play a lot of zone coverage. There will be some opportunities for man coverage, but with Jair Brown, who, by the way, had an interception in that Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, and with Malik Mustafa likely coming back, there will be opportunities for the 49ers to mix up some coverages and do some different things with Travis Kelce. But I think by and large, I think the challenge is on Fred Warner to step up and defend Travis Kelce. Now, according to PFF, in the Super Bowl, Warner was in coverage against Kelce on 5 targeted passes from Mahomes. 3 of those were completions for 42 yards. So not a bad performance, but maybe Warner locks onto him a little bit, maybe earlier and often than they would, with Dre Greenlaw still sidelined as he returns from the Achilles that he tore during that game as the 49ers were taking the field, jumping, leaping up and down on the sideline. He tore his Achilles and was out for the rest of that game. Where Kansas City, where Andy Reid is going to try to identify matchups and dictate matchups, will be in going after Devondre Campbell. Devondre Campbell, who has been filling in for Dre Greenlaw, he has not been good in coverage. He has been an area of the 49ers defense where opposing offenses have definitely tried to exploit on the season. These stats come from PFF, and I realize it's not all man coverage, but it's a lot of times they will identify the nearest defender or the defender most responsible for a completion in zone coverage. According to PFF, Devondre Campbell has been targeted 28 times this season, resulting in 25 completions. So 25 of 28 passing for 249 yards and a touchdown. So to me, it seemed very clear that the Kansas City Chiefs may be lacking in other ways to move the ball. They're going to be trying to identify the matchups with Kelce and trying to get the 49ers in some compromising positions that way as well. This is a matchup where, this isn't the Kansas City Chiefs offense that is just the high-powered, high-flying offense. Yes, they still have Patrick Mahomes, who's, would you say inarguably? I wouldn't say that. I was going to say inarguably the best player in the game. Certainly not that. Obviously Lamar Jackson's having a great season for the Ravens. He's coming off an MVP season, but he's just one of those guys that you never count out. And he seems to play his absolute best when he's counted on the most, including the postseason. But right now, the Kansas City offense ranks 11th in the NFL in yards per game. That's 9th in passing and 16th in rushing. The 49ers, well, let's just kind of keep it the matchup versus the matchup. The 49ers defense is 11th in the NFL. This is yards allowed. So you're talking about the 11th ranked offense against the 11th ranked defense. 49ers have been given up yards to the point of they rank 17th in passing and 7th in rushing. So my guess is that Kansas City probably won't feel like they can run the ball too effectively on the 49ers. So they might just try to spread it out a little bit and allow the spacing of the field to get the ball to Travis Kelce. Because there's no question, with Rice out of the lineup, Travis Kelce is their number 1, 2, and 3 option in the passing game. Let's flip it now to the other side, though. Kansas City's defense. Kansas City's defense ranks 9th overall in the league. They're 20th against the pass and 5th against the run. 49ers have the 2nd overall offense in the league, 2nd passing, 3rd rushing. So with Jordan Mason up in the air as far as his availability, this could be a game where the 49ers certainly go with more 3 receiver sets, get Juwan Jennings out there. If Ricky Pearsall were available, and I'm not sure he will be. In fact, I don't think he will be. It's kind of a long shot at this point. But I guess I also should throw in that you never underestimate Ricky Pearsall just from what we've seen so far. This might be one of those games with a banged up running back that the 49ers would try to pass more. I do think, regardless of the availability of Jordan Mason, the 49ers would be inclined to throw the ball more on early downs like they tried to do in the Super Bowl. And it makes sense from this standpoint. The 49ers don't want to get themselves in third down positions, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, those kinds of situations where Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, can dial things up and come at you with more exotic blitzes. So my thought would be for the 49ers offense, what they often try to do is to throw the ball on the early downs when the defense is going to be more predictable based on down and distance. And so, Brock Purdy won't be he won't have that split second of confusion or trying to identify what kind of defense he's seeing, because it pretty much has to be more straightforward on those early downs. 49ers don't want to get into those obvious passing situations. Okay, so talked about Devondre Campbell and how the Kansas City Chiefs will try to identify matchups with him against Kelce. In the Super Bowl, the 49ers had a number of players in charge of covering Kelce, including Oren Burks. Oren Burks took over when Dre Greenlaw was injured. Tashawn Gibson was a safety. And of course, Greenlaw for a little bit less than half the game. So this year, it's going to be Warner, I think. I think he's going to be the guy that the 49ers are going to count on, that Nick Sorensen is going to count on to really set the tone in this game and be a difference maker. And the new faces, it's basically Devondre Campbell in the spot of Burks. And by the way, Burks, when he was in coverage against Kelce, 3 completions, 3 attempts for 25 yards. Mustafa takes over for Gibson. Jair Brown remains in his same role. And so that is what it looks like for the 49ers in the game. McCole Hardman, the Super Bowl, 3 catches for 57 yards and 1 touchdown. But for the Chiefs really haven't gotten much from their outside receivers. And again, I don't think that that's a matchup that concerns the 49ers. It's all about Travis Kelce. So once again, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like, comment, all the above. And I do want to give a couple shout outs here. First off, I don't know if you've noticed, got a haircut. JB, my barber, thank you very much. And he's a loyal subscriber and viewer of this YouTube channel. And a couple of people, I'm going to start doing this whenever I meet people at Candlestick or on the road. Just give them a quick shout out. Kelly and Derek from New Jersey. I had an early morning flight Friday morning from Seattle back home, and it was like 5 a.m. And they were so nice and cheerful as they were getting ready to head cross country back home. Shout out to them. And I will continue to do that when I see people, like I said, at Levi Stadium or on the road, and they say hi and identify themselves. I'll try to give them a shout out here on this channel. So right now, that's it. That's it for now.